Welcome to Sins of a Solar Empire 2. This expansive space RTS game has just received its 1.5 update. And to say it's a large change would absolutely be an understatement here. So let's explore the major gameplay changes and the other significant patches to game balance, diplomacy, and the AI. Cheers Stardock for providing me with early access to the update and for sponsoring this video. Let's start by taking a look at the headlining gameplay updates, beginning with the big macroeconomic updates that'll touch everything, from what you build to how quickly you can get it online. 6, that's S-I-X, key and rather sweeping updates were put in place, and they are definitely all worth a look, alongside some of the deeper details buried within the notes. The orbital economy has been reworked to bring more of the economy into orbit. Beginning here with the rework itself, where pop structures and extractors are now better than before, strengthening the impact on max pop counts and overall strength as the game ramps up. The planetary economy moves in tandem to strengthen the relative power of extractors by reducing the overall metal and crystal production potential. Planets are now totally reliant on their populations for their income. Very important. By the way, when we look a little deeper into the patch notes, in fact at the first gameplay changes, we see, what's that? It's a new planetary item, the Universal Terrarium, in all of its glory, providing a 50% growth rate to pop growth on planet, and increasing the max pop count by 200. Here we're also introduced to some of the diplomatic changes, for of course, this is Sins 2 Update 1.5, the Diplomatic Repercussions update. Both the diplomatic system and AI behavior have been significantly overhauled. On the diplomatic side, players can now trade influence and items. The AI will consider many factors in choosing who to deal with and how those deals will take shape. Overall AI decision-making should now be much better too, particularly as you move through a game. Taking a moment to delve a little deeper into the, and I'm seriously not exaggerating when I say very lengthy patch notes, we see some of the more specific AI updates for Sins 2 version 1.5. The AI sees some of its major issues remedied here, including the bug that meant AI ships would attack enemy ships in the same gravity well, regardless of whether they could actually stand a chance at winning. It'll also remember its primary mission when stumbling upon enemies along the way. What I really like here, though, are the AI changes that made it a little more, dare I say, human-like, or at least a little bit more like me. What do I mean? Well, there's a new AI mission that feels rather vengeful, and definitely reflects something that I would do. It's now able to retreat from a gravity well, regroup, build a stronger force to return and, quote, lash out, unquote, at the site of the previous engagement. That's literal revenge. The AI's retreat behavior has also improved. It'll now retreat towards home instead of flipping sort of somewhat randomly between systems. Finally, on the AI, some more noteworthy points from me here anyway. You'll notice several further improvements in how it behaves on harder difficulties, like Nightmare. The AI won't be a cautious, nervous Nancy anymore. No longer potentially waiting cautiously, sitting in the wings. The higher-level AI isn't so prone to waiting to outnumber you. And die, of course, before striking us down. This aggressive tact is also seen with an increase in the AI's chaos factor. Here, the chance that the AI will underestimate the player's fleet and attack has increased. During such attacks, the new attack targeting AI also allows it to target in on specific ship types during an assault. Overall, I feel that the AI behaves much better, and closer to you, definitely me, and it's at times riskier attacks, granted, more pronounced on higher difficulties, and much better pathing more broadly. Whether it's an AI opponent, or yours truly, we'll all notice the sweeping rebalance and pacing changes introduced in this update. And this goes beyond the orbital or planetary economy, the rebalancing as it stretches through seemingly countless adjustments to research timing, the technology trees more broadly as well. These trees now feel more intuitive, and they're a little easier to use and navigate through. Technologies with similar subjects, or themes if you will, have been grouped together, while wider trees now appear less visually clustered. Functionally, the research tree's points requirements for unlocking future research have been reduced, importantly making the later tiers more accessible when lab space might be scarce depending on your build. While access to large research rate buffs have been reduced a little, overall research times have fallen too. Wide-reaching reductions in research time have hit all areas of technology, but especially that Tier 5 research. The actual unlocking of the tiers, however, will be more of an investment than before to try and curb some of those extreme tech rush strategies, and this is certainly something I believe that the team will continue to finesse and change. Indeed, we've already seen one quick patch since the major update rolled out only a couple of days ago. It's worth noting that this research timing and balance work genuinely will impact any element of the game in Sins 2. The work continues, as this is intended to be an ongoing reform, as I just mentioned, driven in part, of course, by player feedback. There are over 600 technologies across the different takes, paths, strategies here that you might run into. If you're interested in the faction specifics or your favorite techs, I will, of course, as always, have the patch notes linked down below for the Extra for Experts detail. Further into those notes, you'll notice other economic rebalancing around research costs too, as the credits, metal, crystal costs have been tweaked in many places. Alrighty folks, let's take a step back. One huge step back, in fact, to the very beginning of a game. Maybe unlike it's been before. A couple of really important updates here. Real quick, Sins 2 has colorblind support, with about 7 different settings to cater towards green, red and blue blindness or weakness. While other UI elements like tooltips have seen some nice setting tweaks here, my favorite change across the settings has to be the new quick start options. Building an empire from the start, from the very beginning of a game, will never not be satisfying. That is to say, it's always fun. But I also really appreciate when games let me play around a little bit with a more advanced start, and with more options. Chuck me into the mid-game, give me some clean setup to get started, and let me play around now with some of the mid or later game toys. That's the kind of idea I'm getting here. And indeed, that's what these options allow. Obviously, throughout all of this video, you've seen relevant footage or patch notes. Here is no different. I really appreciate this change, and I really appreciate it being woven into the base game too. Great to see. Even if it doesn't necessarily appeal to everyone all the time, I'd encourage you to check it out. Give it a go. It is very fun. Here we also see some changes to quick start options. So if you don't want to be thrown into an advanced start, you now have 3 different settings here. There's basic, which starts you with a light factory closer to the original Sins 1 experience. Normal, how it has been. Then there's quick, which will start you with a small fleet, 1 civilian and military structure, Tier 1 research unlocks for both categories, and nearly maxed out capital planet tracks. So, there should be some settings here for just about every Sins 2 player. Finally, I'm also a player who appreciates the smaller things, the finer things, and this update adds orbital traffic to the game's beautiful environments. To quote, "help bring the galaxy to life," unquote, orbital traffic in the name of orbital shuttles have been added. This kind of automatic travel system, visual system between population centers adds yet another nice visual element amidst the vacuum of space. Oh, and for mod users out there, you'll notice improvements to the overall user experience in and around modding. It's faster, it's more informative, and ultimately better to use. And that, my friends, is a wrap for my highlighted changes and the key features of Sins 2 Diplomatic Repercussions Update version 1.5. Let's take one final quick recap at the 6 key changes. Overall, Update 1.5 has seriously looked at the game's diplomacy system and made AI generally more dynamic, perhaps a little bit more like me, and certainly more fun. This of course ties into the very first point, the overhauled diplomatic system, a reworked system with greater flexibility, more options, and we can trade influence and items. Combine that with the new quick start options or advanced start options, and you should be able to get flying into a game at any sort of pace that you wish to choose. Finally, as we move down to the bottom of the list, of course, we have the economic rebalance more broadly to Planetary and Orbital Economies. We have the research and tech tree changes, layout changes, as well as the balance work there. And finally, some visual overhauls to orbital traffic, those colorblind settings, and don't forget the updated mod experience buried in there as well. Thank you so much for joining me at this just in time for the holidays free update for Sins of a Solar Empire 2. This is, of course, version 1.5. I'll have the full patch notes linked down below, as well as a link to the game, which, just between you and I believe is actually currently on special on Steam. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.